No, Petro. Keep on playing, Petro. I just crashed the game. Keep on going, Petro! No, no one said you could finish the music. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, wow. Maybe people... Oh, well... Hey. I'm still loading up Star Citizen. It's... Well... I was gonna start off the stream with some VoIP, just because someone said, I hope he's on VoIP, and I did, and I did something. No, not more music. It's gone past that stage now, Petro! Thank you very much for the music. It's beautiful. But yeah, I'm BoredGamer. That's how you're supposed to start videos, aren't you? You're supposed to announce yourself, even though everyone's already clicked on what they would have wanted for you anyway. Yeah, and we're going to be talking some Star Citizen. We're going to talk about the Star Citizen Newsy stuff and maybe play a little bit and that sort of jazz. So, how's everyone? Everyone doing good? The latest 3.3.0 R patch, pretty good. It's got VoIP and VoIP enabled. Seems pretty stable-ish. At least it was for the 10 minutes I played it. That said, I mean, there could be a billion different crashes there that I have yet to see. Yeah, I know, I'm live in a really weird time. And the reason for that is that I was supposed to be live yesterday, didn't have time to do it, because I was reading and watching through all of the CitizenCon panels still. There's a load of information there that I still haven't finished going through. I haven't even seen all the second stage panels yet, so I'm waiting for them, because there's no sources for them online. I'm waiting for them to come out on the main YouTube before I do a video on them. But I've still got to do a... summary video of the facial animation tech one, and also talk a little bit about the VoIP cameras, because we know that they're still being made by Faceware, and that they are going to be, I believe, available in 2019. But yeah, facial animation tech, and then the Art of Hurston and Lawville in 3.3.5. And those are the two panels I have yet to cover summary-wise that I have access to. Yeah. And then I'll just double check to make sure there's no other little tidbits of information that other people have got from devs chatting. Because I did a summary of the Angry Joe interview and some of that jazz. Hopefully the man was
Tricksy
humble.
little hobbitses.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Oh my god, do you remember that? No, wait. Let's. Thank you very much, motherfucker. Very much appreciated. Now, hopefully I fixed my. Just doing a VoIP face. Hopefully I fixed my alerts, so they will actually alert me. That might be correct, or it might not be. And so I'm sure we'll soon see. But yes, so some stuff that's happened. That 3.3.0 R patch, great. It still hasn't got all the bits in it yet. It's certainly getting there though. Let me move this screen across because it has all the information I need on it. Boom. Do that. As I can see what's going on. But the trailer that they showed at CitizenCon for Squadron 42, pretty fucking cool. Shows all the improvements they've made over time. But not all the stuff that's improved and new. Like there's loads of little spoilers and loads of little there's a huge amount of stuff that they're not showing us for Squadron 42 yet, which is annoying or cool. It depends on whether you want to be surprised as you're playing it or not. I sort of like, because I want to know more about the project without spoiling the story. I don't care if it's like, and there's this cool ship that you haven't seen before, and this, and this, and this. As long as they don't spoil the actual story, I'm probably okay, which I doubt they would. But the actual gameplay of 3.3.5, great. They're showing some near future gameplay. We're getting 3.3.5 probably by the end of next month, which will be cool. And then the end of the month afterwards is Christmas and the new year, and that's when we're supposed to be getting 3.4. So we are getting 3 live patches potentially this quarter. So they've really got their work cut out for them to get them all out. But we will we'll have to keep on following to see. Yo, dude, could I run this on a 1060 and an i7 770K? Yes, you can. Especially with object container streaming now. Oh yeah, not 6 gigs of RAM. You wouldn't be able to run with 6 gigs of RAM. You need a minimum of 8 gigs. However, that would be terrible. You want at least 12 gigs of RAM, preferably 16. Do the thing, board, please. Oh God, I'm gonna have to do. Look at this. Look at this. What do I do for my loving audience? Options, com settings, calibrate. No, not calibrate. Need to turn VoIP on first. VoIP on, calibrate. Let's go. Game. Star Citizen. Is this what you want? So I find this calibration, I find this screen just not as good as what the in-game does. Like, it doesn't read my lips properly. So, let's actually prove that. Standard system. This patch has got VoIP and VoIP in it, though it's working inconsistently. It should be able to actually see each other's expressions, at least within party members. So that's pretty cool. They are slowly getting more and more of those features in the 3.3.0 PTU, and that's how the PTUs sort of work. They slowly put more and more features in, test them, and then put it into a live build once at least most of the bugs have gone. So, boom, said, nope. Oh, there's a wall in the way, I think. Oh, my lips are quivering. So I haven't set up my camera at all other than to literally click on calibrate. And I think the calibration of the camera is just a billion times better than it used to be. My skin is very shiny in this light. Very shiny in this light, but it's pretty good at reading. I'm doing weird things with my mouth. Ow. It doesn't do anger very well. Doesn't do anger very well. It's like the cheeks that will pull up There's sort of like creases that will plop around my eyes. I have to do anger with my eyes. And my nose. Oh, it's a bit weird. But other than that, there's a range of expression. The issue I have actually with VoIP, it's hand expression. So most of my expression, when I'm actually talking to someone IRL, comes from my hand. Not most of it, but a large amount of it. And I find myself when I'm talking at VoIP on the camera, actually move my hands around a lot. Let's see if I can actually enable my camera. I don't think I can. Enable my camera here as well. Yeah, I can't. Camera won't work here. So I'll have to turn that off. But yeah, that's VoIP. We'll go back to VoIP a bit later, maybe. I'll certainly get a video on it done later today. And all those other expressions as well. But very Captain Richard there. And let's get rid of this fucking... Bam! You're gonna... Bam. Oh, no. Come on. Go to deactivate, activate. Oh, I've broken my camera. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Break my camera. Oh, no, it's still tracking. VoIP. No! No VoIP. Now will you come back? Come on, camera. Come on. Yeah, boy. Yeah, we go. So, I will get another camera set up. So that I have 2 webcams. So that I can use one for VoIP and one for me. Whee! Although they allowed it in the calibration options. The camera, you could actually have their calibration camera tracking your face here as well, but maybe that's too much to ask. But yeah, that's VoIP. VoIP. Vote for Pedro. Yeah, that's true. Will the universe have more than 2 genders? Well, genders are fluid. It will have 2 sexes, but it can have as many genders as it wants. My understanding of gender currently, the current meaning in society. Dance to Listen uses 20 gigs of RAM. What? No, what? Not at the moment it doesn't. How much is it actually using in the background for me? It is using 11 gigs at the moment for me. So 12 gigs minimum, really, in my opinion. I'm running at 1440p and stuff. So at the moment, I'm looking to start to get a 4K setup. I want to be able to record 4K videos. I want to be able to play in 4K. Means I probably stream in 4K, but it'll be downscaled to 1080 or whatever, or whatever's appropriate. So I'm going to be grabbing a 4K monitor and any extra bits I need for 4K video with the donations over the next couple of months. Because I'll probably start to do it at Christmas time, potentially, at the earliest, or the early next year. I'll get the hard question out of the way. Is this game ever going to come out? Kappa. Opes, I mean, it's really hard to answer that question because almost certainly, yes, there's a 99.9% chance that it will come out as a what everyone considers as a released game. However, I don't know that for sure. There could be a global nuclear war, that something could happen. So, almost certainly. However, what they've said when it comes to their releases, there is a helicopter going over my house. That's not what they've said. That's actually just what's happening currently in my situation. There's a helicopter. I live by a hospital, and helicopter, beep, 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 beep. That's the sound a helicopter makes, or if you can hear that in the background. Well, it's not really being detected much by my microphone. That's pretty good. What they've said with the release schedules is every 3 months from now on, just like they have been, they are going to be providing new features, new bits for the game, and they're going to keep on doing that pretty much indefinitely until we have something that we consider a beta game and then a released product. Now, they will get to a stage almost certainly where they go, guys, now it's an on-the-shelf product we're selling like live for a live build. However, they're going to be working on their core, the last 3 core remaining pillars, which are organizations, full persistence, and server meshing. And then they've got all of the core game in there, and they can have full persistence and everyone in the same server sort of thing, is the idea, or as close to that as possible. And then the game obviously needs all the gameplay loops in the gameplay area, and that's sort of like secondary to having the whole of the core game experience there. But yeah, every 3 months, more releases. So is it going to come out sort of according to their statement? It is out, and it's going to be done like this until it's a more tangible, meaty product. And then they're going to probably keep on doing that. Probably forever. Well, that might say forever. 10 to 15 years. That's what I'm expecting. Can an org buy a planet in Star Citizen? Technically, in UEE space, an org could buy every single plot of land on a moon or a planet. However, I think that would... There's so much land on a planet. So, you can buy 8x8 kilometer chunks for like $100 or whatever, or something like that. Or 4x4, which is 4 times smaller, for 50. That's what they previously had that with real cash. Now, pretty much everything else is probably almost certainly going to be done with in-game money in the future. So, that's just in UEE space. So you can buy plots of land, bam, you go down, you put your claim down, and then you go and register that claim. So yeah, if all got organised together, they'd have to do that. Now that would take fucking ages, because a planet, so Hurston for example, 1/6 the size of Earth. So that's huge still. Even with a moon, that's going to take them a long time to do and cost an insane amount of money. So even if it's all in game and it's super cheap, it's going to take a long time to actually organise and do that. But technically, yes, you could do that. However, if you're out of UEE space, you don't even need to buy land. You just land on a planet and say it's yours. So it's mine. Now, there's no enforcement of that unless it's enforcement that you've bought or whatever. So you could get NPCs to patrol. You could put turrets and defensive platforms there. You could get your friends to patrol that area and around that planet. So, and especially if it's out of UEE space, there might not be any laws in that area, so you can just enforce it however you want. So, you don't need to buy a planet in Star Citizen, you just need to go and claim it. But you then need to use force to deal with it, because it's a whole planet. Someone's gonna be able to get in through under the hood and hide around and whatever. If someone's ever on the ground, you're never gonna find them. I mean, it's unlikely. Hello, hello, hello. Love your faces. Decent chance of Hurston. They only have 8 patches before Z. So Hurston isn't in 3.3. 3.3 is object container streaming without Hurston. 3.3.1 or 3.3.5, as it was supposed to be called, probably still will be called. That's when you get Hurston, new mission giver, and the purchasing and rental of ships, and all the moons of Hurston, the 4 moons. All those new biomes and stuff. The Kraken is pretty cool. Now, we will probably talk about the Kraken in a bit more detail later. I decided not to buy one personally. Now, that's mainly because I already have a Javelin and a load of other ships, like an Endeavour. I've got an Endeavour Master set, for example. That's got a hangar as well. So, the Kraken, a great platform for a centerpiece for a fleet. However, I've got a load of ships that do its job. It just can't travel with them. Now, a lot of the ships that I want to travel with are quite large, and they have their own hangars and things like that. So, I kind of thought, I probably don't need a Kraken. If you wanted to lock down an area of space, especially outside of UEE control, and you wanted like a mobile platform to make money from as well for people rearming and repairing, then Kraken probably pretty cool. It just, for me, it was just literally didn't have that much gameplay other than being a platform to house ships. It is a carrier, but pretty much nothing else. It's a carrier and rearm, repair, and refuel platform. But, there's a lot of other ships that do that, and the fact that it can only spawn ships on it when it's first spawned itself. So once you get your Kraken out in the verse, the idea is that you spawn it wherever it's supposed to be spawned from. Probably only certain places will be able to spawn it, and then you can spawn any ships you want onto it that you own. But you can't then spawn random ships on it when it's floating around in space. They have to land there and take off there and whatever. They can stay there, but it won't put them into storage. Hi, Bored, no question. Great to see you actually playing games with your friends. Oh, yes, so from Other Suns. I know you like reporting on Star Citizen, but the 2 gameplay vids in Star Citizen and VR were really fun. Love your face. Yeah, so Winlord, I'm going to be doing some gameplay every week. Now, it's mostly going to be Star Citizen. Stuff that's not Star Citizen will almost solely go on the secondary channel. I played from Other Suns, which is that sort of like VR cross between first-person FTL, multi-cruise spaceships. It's tangentially related to Star Citizen, and with Zin and DC, who will be playing Star Citizen with me regularly in the future. And in fact, Zin, I'm probably going to be employing to literally make Star Citizen videos and doing basically the same stuff that I do, pretty much. See if she's any good at reading patch notes. But I mean, who wouldn't be? It's patch notes. Obviously, I'll still be frontman and everything for my channel. It's just I'll be able to get much better footage. I'll be able to have more time to do videos. Be able to do more complex videos. Be able to do multiplayer stuff. And Star Citizen's getting more and more playable. And I want to do multi-crew videos. I want to have a partner in crime in the verse. And also, I want to be able to interact with my audience more. And that's kind of quite hard schedule-wise unless I have other people helping me. Oh my god, so DC's actual VR name in that game is Lieutenant Commander Sucablet. It's Ensign Rowe, because she's actually from Star Trek. Ensign Rowe is a Bajoran in The Next Generation, and Zin loves The Next Generation. And DC is just a cock. Jeez. Oh, I love him so much, but I also hate him. I'm doing well, thank you very much. I've lost a load of weight. I need to tone up now. I went on my holiday around CitizenCon time, and I just drank a load and ate loads. And I was just feeling a bit rough. I had like a 24-hour flu yesterday. I was like, oh. Still, I've got the tail end of that. That's why I'm streaming in the morning for me, pretty early. It's actually afternoon now, mid-afternoon. So that I can, while I'm feeling okay, and then I'm going to get a video done for 3.3.0R. I think when I talk about numbers, I'm going to say 0 when I say O rather than O, because you could otherwise I'm going to have to talk about patches as 3.0.3, so 3.3.00 if that's the letter number, rather than, so I'll say 0. Say zeros. I'll try to. Do we know a date for the anniversary sale yet? Well, let's see what it was last year. Star Citizen Anniversary Sale 2017. November 24th, was it? So they started talking about the anniversary sale mid-November, but it started, it looked like, on the 24th. Oh, let's bring this up. So end of November, typically when they have the anniversary sale. And we'll also see potentially an anniversary live stream, vertical slice type thing. There's lots of stuff they could show us. Now, what we know we're getting by the end of December is the roadmap for... He's still on sale? Which we were talking about these a minute ago. No, they're not. Good. That's a bad idea. We know we're getting the roadmap for Squadron 42 added to the roadmap we currently have, which was great. And Chris implied that it was going to be till the completion of Squadron 42. Now, the way he said at the time, at least the way I remember it, it sounds like it will have sort of like, this is everything we need to get done for its completion, shown then and there, rather than it keep on being updated with new things that they need to add as it goes along. So hopefully we'll have Squadron 42 by the end of next year actually in our hands. And actually playable as a live game. Wouldn't that be nice? A live product from CIG. Oh. Is the current CFG guide from your site compatible for 3.3? Yes, it should be. But what I would say with user.cfg guides is you don't really want to use them in the PTU. They skew bug results. They can be super buggy with certain things. They're not really intended for PTU builds. I couldn't choose a sound for being hosted, so I decided to use this. Thank you very much. This is to be. Thank you very much. I'm getting better at saying names. Do we have a date for the anniversary sale? So yeah, end of November. Also, Kraken concept is going to be a tough act to follow. What do you think the new concept will be in November? So, the only ship that hasn't come out of the Choose Your Next Drake Ship anniversary, their stream they did last year, is the Corsair, which is a Drake constellation, basically, which I think will be really popular, like genuinely be pretty popular, because it's a step up from the Cutlass, and it's going to be a cheap multi-cruise ship. So I suspect that will be at some point. Don't think it will be for the anniversary sale. Like, I think for the anniversary sale, I'm hoping we'll see Titan suits. That would probably be one of the largest sales. I mean, so it's something I'm really interested in. So the idea of the Titan suits are sort of like power loader from Alien sort of thing. So like a big, super heavy sort of armor. Not giant mech. Not just a suit of armor. So like in between. So really, really, really tiny little power robot. And it would have like size 1 weapons on it or something. Now, we don't know that for sure. So we know they tested them previously, holding like having arms as size 1 weapons. Apparently that was too long, though they could probably have them built into them a bit better. We know that they've tested, at least in concept, holding a single size 1 weapon, like a gun. I would be happy if it had multiple attachment points, and you could just put multiple heavy weapons there. So like you could have the railguns and rocket launchers and things like that. Just have like multiple attachment points for shoulder-mounted weapons. That would be how I would do it. But yeah, the idea of the Titan suits is they bridge a interesting area between infantry to tank to air. They should be able to walk around buildings and things like that. They said one of the things that they had problems with was when they were testing them, they had these long arms and they couldn't turn around corners and things. So, oh my god, it does pick up your lazy eye. Fuck you. I haven't got a lazy eye, I've got a squinty eye. Okay? And that's because I'm tired, because I'm making videos for you all the fucking time. Fuck you! Who was that, actually? Oh. He's called Ray Normie Get Out. What a beautiful name. See, I did that in the Big Man Tyrone style. Fucking hell. Oh, I hate people. Who was talking about how many systems there would be? Do you think the devs will deliver all the promises made for the funding goals? Eventually, yes. But eventually means between now and, 5 years' time, realistically, to be honest. 100 systems at launch. Now, I think that we'll sort of like, when we have sort of like what we deem a beta phase, we'll have 5-ish systems. Yeah? So beta for me is going to be some gameplay area. So as long as it's got jump points, 2 systems actually would be enough for a beta for me. And then almost all of the gameplay loops. They don't need to be fully polished, or they don't need to be fully finished. And all of the core tech. So you've got all of the core stuff there. But then they can finish polishing, balancing, adding extra bits to mechanics they already have, and build out all the gameplay area. And then once they've built out once they've got all of those systems sort of like nailed down and balanced, and then there's a reasonable gameplay area, sort of like 30 systems or more, that's a live product for me. And then 100 systems. So the thing is that once they have all the modular parts for Alien systems, for Vandal, for Banu, for Kurthak, for all of them, they are able to procedure generate everything pretty quickly and easily. They're obviously going to want to go in by hand and make sure that certain parts of planets or whatever are sculpted correctly, so hero landing zones and that sort of stuff. But for entirely new systems, they can have 40 systems and add 60 quite interesting systems that don't have like alien cities on, but have lots of different loot, lots of different missions generated for, and that sort of stuff, using just the procedural tech that were all pretty unique in Alien, almost probably within 3 months. They could, but they won't want to do that. So they want to have as much handcrafting as they can. So, but what I'm saying is, they can do it pretty quick still. They can add, I don't know, some systems every 3 months, a few systems. Hopefully, like 1 a month would be great. But we'll have to see. So some of that in those numbers, obviously, I'm pulling out of my ass, but it's based on stuff that they've previously said. It's like I reckon. So, fortunately, I reckon is not always correct. Hope it's reasonably balanced, though. Sort of like my opinion there. What's the asteroid and then bottom right of the HUD? It's so shiny and smooth. Fuck you. That's that asteroid. They scanned my head in for the game and they made me into an asteroid and a potato. Thanks. Thanks. Do we believe that ArcCorp will make it for year end? Yes. I do. Yeah. I mean, we saw ArcCorp before we saw Hurston, technically. It's just more and more procedural tech. Right, what else have we got? Bam, bam, bam. Follow up with land purchasing in the UE space. Is there some info of building a org home? There's only a little bit of info about what they see as buying land plots, 8 by 8 kilometers, and then building on them using a Pioneer, potentially bringing some other structures and doing some other bits. But no, nothing really beyond that. It's very sort of like surface level talking about bits. Yeah, the Kraken serves a purpose. Everyone's wanted a pocket carrier for a long time. I am going to buy so many spaceships.
Star Citizen Live Servers question. Is there any way to make this current version Sun stable? I tried every solution I could find online. My FPS is not the issue. Just that I have in-game stutter. And I also can't wait for it to hit live servers.
Yeah, so the hitching is probably part of like your RAM or VRAM getting full up, or you not being on an SSD or something like that. There's a billion problems that could be on 3.2.2. 3.3 alleviates a huge amount of the burden on the systems. So hopefully you won't have those problems. We're gonna have to wait for a live build to get it super stable, or at least more stable. Sorry, dude. I've just seen one of my favourite people has donated loads of money to me. Is that you, Robert? Is it you? It is Robert Johnston. Hey, Board, I saw it in the lead up to CitizenCon stream. Even to work tells you to feck off. They did try, didn't they? I appeared on the stream afterwards, and I was very drunk and quite grumpy for other reasons. And I was trying to be edgy, like, oh yeah, I mean, they should have shown us more. And I quite liked CitizenCon. I thought it was pretty awesome. I loved the Squadron 42's trailer when I watched it when I was sober. Gillian Anderson's face confused me just because she's younger in the game, and that confuses my brain. But yeah, it was cool. I love your face. Thank you so much. Constant supporter of the stream with monies. Just chucks money at me. That's what everyone should do. Lol, lol, lol. What else we got? What else we got question wise here? So, ship hire and purchasing in 3.3. So, 3.3.5 will definitely have ship purchasing and ship hire. That is coming within the next few weeks. It's probably as soon as 3.3 goes live, there will be a 3.3.5 PTU. And this is what this stuff you're seeing in the background. This is Hurston. This is the TSA Starport. This is New Deal, the shop there that will allow you to purchase and buy ships. In 3.3, you'll be able to rent everything in-game using Rec for Arena Commander. All of that in-game rather than having to go to the website. I don't think we are getting the ability to purchase and buy ships until 3.3.5. But the good side of that is that 3.3.5 is coming really, really soon. Star Citizen is getting more playable. Not today. Do ships not work in 3.3.0R? I've only briefly played the patch for about 10 minutes, unfortunately. It seemed stable. However, I have had 2 crashes while waiting in the menu. As Chris Rob said in CitizenCon, when they hit that milestone, server meshing, the game will stop server reset and release the game. Sounds like they will do a Warframe kind of release. That's not actually what he said. He may have implied that. He said they're going to continue to work until they get those 3 pillars, and then it will be a full game experience. That's what he said. So I think it basically means that we're just going to keep on going until we think we've got a release thing. But that's just the core tech server meshing. That's when they don't need to constantly reset, I suppose. But they probably still will occasionally. Hey, board 3.2.2 live question. Is there any way to make the current version stable? Talked about that. I mean, installing new drivers and messing around and stuff like that is your best bet. It could be any number of problems, though, unfortunately, for me to diagnose. Will we get ship shapes like the end of last year? Probably. Also, Jared, I think he's taking a break this week because obviously he's going to be dead from CitizenCon. But next week we should start to see calling all devs and stuff again. But there should be occasional ship shapes as part of like AVTV or a separate little module to AVTV. And I would expect the anniversary sale to have manufacturer sort of like around the verses and reverse the verses and stuff like that, like they did last time. Hopefully they will, because I love spaceships. You know, what Star Citizen is sort of about. Will you be able to land multiple ships on each landing platform of the Kraken? If it fits, it sits, yes. But the safe, it basically listed the amount of landing pads on it. So it's got 4 small landing pads, 2 medium landing pads, and 2 internal landing pads. I think that are medium size. Might be small size, might be in between. But if it fits, it sits. It also has a little bay for 4 dragonflies. Can you transfer in-game currency to other players? You will be able to. Currently, you cannot. Other than you can set up a service beacon. So you can set up a service beacon for a player to take you from one location to another that's in your party, or to give you combat support, and they can instantly take it. So that's basically a way you can currently transfer money to other players. Will you be able to customize decals and images in-game? You'll have some customization of the paint scheme of your ships. They have briefly talked about decals and that sort of stuff for ships and said they may give us custom ones. We'll have to wait and see whether that's actually becomes a thing. I suspect they'll probably want to do that because they could probably charge real-life money for custom decals. You can say, yeah, you can have your custom test Squadron one. It'll cost you $5 though. If they did that, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'm okay with entirely custom decals and stuff costing me real-life money. Good way of funding the game. Certainly don't need them, but do you know when the Mercury Star Runner will be available to fly and fly?
Bullets like fucking
beautiful.
Neo.
Thank you very much, motherfucker. Much appreciated. I've just seen Rob Johnson sent me more money. Oh my god. I'll come back to you in a second, Robert. I love your face though. Mwah. No, we don't know when the Mercury Star Runner will be available to buy and fly. It isn't a complex ship though. It doesn't have any extra new mechanics other than the data running, which the Herald has. And they probably just need to add some mission-based stuff for that in the short term. So it could be pretty soon. It's not a huge ship. Speaking of which, how many boards does it take to change a light bulb? None, because I told them all to feck off. No, not loads of money streaming after 1 AM on a week. Oh, I see. I love your face. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate your continued support. You chucking money at me. Like, why not? Thanks. I can do my cheesy VoIP and FoIP grins. Can we expect FoIP to be improved? Yes. It needs to be dialed in. So locally, LAN and stuff, FoIP can work pretty well. And it has been working pretty well, in my opinion, for what it is. It just needs a bit of tweaking, a bit of love, and I suspect with the 3.3 live build, it will be pretty good with VoIP and FoIP, but it will get better over time. Once it gets some better calibration options as well, that'll be a lot better. If you want to ask a question, if you can put question in brackets, it will draw my eye to it. Otherwise, I'm much more likely to miss it. Hi, Board. Do you think we'll see a Starlift to C2 or Star Runner in the game next year? If the Hercules is needed for Squadron 42, yes. The Star Runner, that probably can get in next year, whatever. R is very broken. Okay, so I'll try and get an R 3.3.0 R video out today. If it's too broken to film, then I'll just have to do the patch notes. Were you happy with Hurston as the keynote? It looked incredible, but I would have loved to see Microtech or Alien Planets. Yes, I would have liked to see some future stuff, whether that's jump points, aliens, animals, crazy biomes, microtech, other things. Yeah, I would have loved to. I think we might see some stuff like that in the anniversary live stream. So I have a 300i and I'm sick of not being able to do much. Can you recommend a cheaper ship to get so I can do stuff and make a bit of money? Avenger Titan. The 300 series will be a lot better once they're reworked, which is coming in 3.4. So by the end of the year, that 300 series will be a lot better. I prefer the Avenger Titan. It's got a cargo bay. It's got a good amount of weaponry on it. It can do a little bit of everything. VoIP and FoIP was working in the R patch, allegedly. I messed around with it briefly and had apparently people could see my face, but I've only had played for like 10 minutes. That said, apparently R is really, really crashy, but that's when they enable a new feature and getting sort of like working, it does implode very briefly. So hopefully they'll get a new patch out quickly and it will fix a load of the problems and bugs. I know this might be a silly request. Do you think CIG should start using commas in the amount of UEC you have? Yes. Anything that makes it easier to see how much money you have at a glance. Someone did the math with CitizenCon prices, and for a mission reward, it would take 55 hours to purchase an Aurora. How long do you believe it will take to get an Aurora? You'll start with one. If you want to buy a new one for some reason, I can't imagine why anyone would want to buy a new starting ship. But you might want to for some reason. So the prices of ships and the prices of mission rewards are entirely irrelevant of what they showed in this demo. This demo that we're seeing now, that is just, assume those are random figures. The amount of money we get from mission rewards and the amount of money that ships cost will be significantly balanced by feedback and then be dynamic beyond that. So they will then start to take on the economy of the verse. By that, what I mean is the materials that it costs to build the parts of those ships and the amount of time it takes to build, which is simulated, what factories and processes are used for that, which is again is simulated, that all feeds into how much this is. Also, supply and demand and that sort of stuff as well will affect prices. So how long do I think it will take to get an Aurora? I mean, it's a cheap trash ship. You should be able to get one from, I don't know, if you're grinding in an Aurora to get one with the like low tier missions, I mean, it could take several low tier missions, several hours to get them. If you're doing high tier missions, you might be able to do a single mission and be able to buy a couple of Auroras. That's the sort of thing. I mean, I'd likely sort of like compare it to Eve, but Eve is much more Wild West, and sort of like entirely player led, which leads to crazy stuff happening in the economy. Whereas Star Citizen would be a bit more strained because it's representing and simulating an economy based on not just the player base, but millions and millions and millions of NPCs living on planets. So it should be a lot more stable because of that, the economy. However, players are still going to have a big influence on the economy, but there's also going to be lots of other stuff going on, and you'll see boom and bust cycles and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Twerk, you did pay Twerk to tell me to feck off. I do remember that. Very vaguely, I was very drunk. Does 3.3.5 still have the mobiGlas bugs? Don't know. 3.3.5 is sort of like the build we're seeing here on the screen, and we have 3.3 at the moment in PTU. 3.3 is significantly better for Star Map now, though. And lots of the mobiGlas bugs are fixed, but there's lots of new ones, which hopefully they'll fix. Have you taken part in the Great Levski Airlift? No. I've been told not to go to Levski in this patch as well, so... Oh, we see what you mean. When people spawn there, you have to get them out. Oh. Hey, Bored, where are you located so I can go to your place with the option to rent ships and ride the subway? What? Are you planning to go over the roadmap? People want to ask questions about the roadmap, they can. Like, talk about the roadmap in general. There's... The recent updates to the roadmap are everything made a little bit of progress.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Do you know what we can expect? Do you know when we can expect 3.3 in the PU? So as a live build, it could be any time between the end of next week to middle of next month. Realistically. Thank you very much, Joe Richer. I appreciate the sub. Mwah. I'm going to start doing some more stuff for subs. So, I think next stream what we'll do is we'll do like a sub raffle. Anyone that's a joiner on what are they called? A member on YouTube, which is like the Twitch version of subscribers, or a Twitch subscriber, or a Patreon. We'll put into like a raffle, and we'll do that every few weeks. It'll be like for, I don't know, I've got some Saber Ravens, but do it for a Saber Raven. Do occasional things like that to encourage people to sub and to donate and things. I do appreciate all the support. I always look to ways of increasing the amount of money I earn from playing games. I've got a beautiful job, but I am going to be employing Zin soon, so I do need to consider that. Yes, I'm a dirty capitalist. If the addition of new racing mode is made, wherein competitors are made to loop around an oval at high speeds with a fair chance of crashing, can we call it NASCAR Citizen? I mean, these are getting worse, these... Any suggestion, video card series, best bang for buck currently? I think the best bang for the buck is sort of like the 1070 probably at the moment, but between 1070 to 1080 Ti, somewhere around there. I'd look for second-hand ones on eBay from reliable sources. So just someone with high good seller rating, and then just when you get them, just run some tests on them to make sure they haven't been annihilated. But they should be pretty good. And I do recommend eBay for purchasing graphics cards and hardware. Like, I know some people have had bad things with it, but I've always had a good experience with it. Even DC has, other than like one time. What's the design plan for inertia inside ships? If you pull enough G's to pass out, walking around would be like standing up in an enclosed roller coaster. Artificial gravity is only 1G. Void racks. Interesting you ask that, because the Valkyrie, for example, and the module in the Redeemer, Retaliator, is what I mean, that has the sort of like chairs that lock in. Actually, I think the Redeemer might actually have them as well. They are there to stop you passing out and to stop you getting flung around the ship when weird things happen. And eventually, they want to put that on the passengers. So you turning hard in the new flight model and that sort of stuff will fling your passengers around or can cause them to pass out or something. So there will be reasons to sit in chairs, is what I'm saying. The capital ships won't be so much of an issue because they'll be going slow. Maybe. I'm working my fleet at the moment, going to be a lot different stuff, but mostly exploration. My fleet at the moment is a Freelancer Dur, Mustang Gamma, Gladius, and a Nox. What do you think of my fleet setup? I think it's cool. I think it's more than a single person needs, probably. But it's cool. It's a cool little starting fleet. Lots of stuff you can do. I'm going to recommend that most people get their stuff in game rather than buy it. If you love the project, if you have a load of fucking money and Star Citizen is your main hobby, then by all means buy spaceships. But most of the stuff will be more enjoyable to get in game, I think. Well, that's not going to be true of everyone. Some people will want to have these big fleets and will still have an amazingly good fun, if not more fun. Will planets have space junk in orbit, and will it make it landing harder? Yeah. We saw that in the vertical slice last year around Gainy, the moon around Odin, that would have been around Odin 1. But it is now just kind of like free floating around the coil. That had loads of space junk in, more than it should have. The Kraken was sold in limited quantities. Any idea how many were sold total? Actually, no. Well, my idea was between 2,000 and 3,000, but I don't actually know. Does anyone know how many Krakens were sold in total? How do you think the Shion Scout will handle come the new flight model? Do you think it will get reworked? especially as the Reliance series is due very soon. And all the ships are going to be reworked for the new flight model. They're all going to be tweaked. They're all going to be reworked. The Xi'an Scout will be very good at strafe and decoupled mode and that sort of stuff. And other ships will have much more of like a turning circle and that sort of stuff. So the Xi'an Scouts will be super agile. And that is going to be their main selling point and their main combat point. And those Xi'an ships are going to be very dodgy and odd flying. I never get to catch your live streams. Can you call my work and tell them I'm calling off board? No. Well, you can use that voice clip and bam, they'll be like, oh shit, it's BoredGamer. Yeah, okay, no worries. Fancy some tea? Fancy some tea and crumpets? Is that how you think I talk? It is, isn't it? See, Lance. Question, love your face. What do you know about the current state of the Endeavour and its various modules? Thanks. No more than was originally announced around its concept time, unfortunately. And obviously they've talked a little bit more about the medical gameplay and that sort of stuff. The Endeavour, I suspect, is going to be one of the last ships they do, unless it's needed for Squadron 42, which I doubt it is. It's complex science stuff that has lots of little nuances and may even allude to manufacture. What's the issue where the insides of your ship are missing? Will it ever get sorted? Yes. Don't know what the issue is. Probably internal physics grids or object container streaming stuff. Will it ever get sorted? Yes, it will. You think we can expect a new ship for the anniversary? Yes, or the Titan suits. I think it's going to be... I'm hoping it's going to be Titan suits. But I don't know. Could be anything. I mean, I didn't know the Valkyrie existed. Although we did... On my office tour, they were talking about a dropship. I think. They might not have been. I might have just added that to my brain. I probably thought they were talking about the Hoplite or the Hercules. That makes more sense. Probably thought they were talking about the Hercules. The Starlifter. I think the 20 series of of NVIDIA cards are overly priced and they underperform. I'd either go for a 10 series or I'd wait for the next generation, in my opinion, at the moment. Maybe Black Friday sales will come along and you might be able to get something really good. What are the things you don't like on Star Citizen? I don't like the fact that the new flight model's not in. I don't like the fact there's no purchasable ships currently. It's just not enough of the game yet for me to play. That's the main thing I don't like. The crashes, the inaccessibility to people, the fact there's no tutorials when I jump in the game. You need to really research the game to be able to play it. Things like that. Like, I don't mind games not holding your hand, but I want to have some ways that it sort of like encourages me to do certain gameplay and I learn from that. But at the moment, it hasn't got that. It's very raw. To be honest though, that rawness, it's actually something I also like, but I hate and like. It's Marmite. In the PTU, I'm limited to the ships I've purchased in the live build. Normally in PT, you've got access to more ships. Do you know any? Oh, okay. So during PTU builds, they may give you more ships, or they may restrict the amount of ships you've got. So at the moment, they're testing just with people's actual ships they own on their accounts to test those databases out. They might give you more ships later. They might take them away. Whatever. We'll have to wait and see. The earlier PTUs did have all the ships though. So some of the early 3.3 builds had all the ships. They've taken them away for whatever reason. Any news on the camera they were making for VoIP from Faceware? If you go to Faceware's website, Faceware, let me show you this actually. Facebook Tech, good job. So if you go to the Faceware website, you can actually register your interest in the Faceware camera. They showed obviously VoIP off recently. We're playing with VoIP at the moment. 2019 is when I believe the camera is going to be released. But you can see some more information there. Some prototypes done for October. What else we got? What else we got here? Oh god, jumped ahead massively. Apologies. Massively. I'm hugely behind. is the subway at Hurston? Yes, on Lawville. Lots and lots and lots of train stations around. Tram station, train. They're trains. Trams. I don't know. I don't know the difference. Is a single rail? Is a single rail a tram? Do you think the Valkyrie should be able to hold at least some cargo? For example, extra ammo, bandage supplies, or looted goods. So it will be able to hold. So people will be able to hold loot on them. There might be cupboards and things to put small loot items in, potentially, but it doesn't have any SCU cargo space. However, if you bring a vehicle on with like a cyclone, just a standard cyclone, that's got one SCU of space in it, which can then be hoisted down. Also, you could probably use that area as cargo space. It just wouldn't be secured cargo. So is there any purpose behind the fact that you have to save your inventory before exiting? No other game would expect you to save inventory after you change things. Oh my god, your name is the Fleech. You could. Oh, yes. When they have physicalized inventories, that'll be a bit different. So at the moment, it's just to update it to their database. It's an art-about face way of doing things until they have full persistence and physicalized inventories. I think we're getting physicalized inventories by 3.6. Should be very close to full persistence then as well. What is the cheapest CPU I can use to play Star Citizen in HD? Also 4K and very high settings. I mean, you'd get away with a third generation CPU for that. I mean, CPU-wise, you're not very throttled as long as you've got like an i7 third generation or above. Some CPUs are not appropriate. But GPU is the thing that you're mainly restricted by, and RAM. Thanks for the inertia answer board. I wish it would get mentioned in future design plans a bit more. They talk about stuff like occasionally, like it was talked about recently, in fact. I think they talked about it at CitizenCon on the off-the-cuff reverse the verse they did, I think. Where they talked about the Valkyrie and they talked about the jump shoots there. But yeah, I mean, previous to that, they've said, no, we're not going to do any form of throwing people around, or it would be nice, but probably not. And now that's obviously changed, to at least if you're not sitting down when certain maneuvers are happening, there will be some form of issue or problem. There's a reason to sit in the seats, basically. Board, 200 to 400-ish. What would be your go-to can-do all ship? I'm considering the Hercules. Wouldn't say the Hercules can do all. Hercules is going to be reasonably good on the ground and is great for transporting things. Valkyrie's going to be pretty nice, actually, as a can-do all ship. Not for cargo, though. So anything that's not cargo-related, the Valkyrie's perfect for. The Constellation Taurus, great multi-role ship. I mean, if you're talking about potentially being able to get some of the older ships, Carrack, $250 previously. Fucking great price for that ship. And that can do pretty much everything. If you can get a Carrack, I'd get for a Carrack. Any idea when VoIP will work? Not VoIP. With 3.3 Live, they'll be messing around with it, testing it in the PTU. So some of the patches it will work in, some of it might not. Do you think there will be a big battle over systems if one has a good money commodity in its system? Yes. Outside of UEE space, yes. Constantly and all the time. And there'll be lots of people, lots of little pirates and things. Space is quite large still, though, so... And all of these sort of like elements and lots and lots and lots of orgs and guilds and pirates can all exist in the same system without meeting each other until they're fighting over a particular point, which is I really fucking love. I love the idea of multiple bases. And then you get the espionage and information gathering thing in with, oh, these pirates are actually parked around here, or they've got an outpost here. I think one of the things that would make it interesting is that if you allow if you allow manufacturing and so that you could get fuel, that you could get, manufactured goods, ammo, missiles, repair bits. If you could build them on outposts, if you get the right materials, because then you'd have people building bases on these worlds that they then need to service. And you'd have all these these bases manufacturing things, and people would be trying to find those bases through espionage, through information gathering, through joining each other's orgs and being a bit sneaky. And then we go, now we can dislodge these guys now that they found that base, so that they can't have their ammunition manufactured in the system anymore because they're all pirates or whatever, and they have to move on or move back to another area. So I like that idea for supply, but I need to see how all these other high-level ideas and plans are going into the game before I can have like a more formed opinion. Do you think there will be? That's what we just talked about. Yeah, but lots of big battles. So as soon as there's more information on the Carrack, Jared will give us, Disco will give us loads of information. I suspect we'll hear some stuff by the end of the year. Probably one of the things they'll do is for the anniversary live stream or around those couple of weeks or towards December or whatever, they go woo and have like a little Carrack reverse the verse ship-shaped party or something. Do you think there will ever be a tutorial like the flight school again? Yes, Squadron 42, most certainly. Probably for the probably the same tutorial or similar one for the Persistent Universe. Do you think exploration gameplay will play out? Will there be something other than just selling jump point information? Yeah, so they've talked about information gathering. Tony Zerovic did in his thing at CitizenCon, his presentation. There's going to be lots of stuff when it comes to information gathering. There's going to be lots of things that spawn around systems, even if they've already been explored. You'll get like asteroids and meteors and interesting points of interest and that sort of stuff on planets and in the systems. And you'll be able to scan them down, you'll be able to go and explore them. Yeah, there might be jump points. There might even be little tiny jump points in the same system. That sort of thing that you might be able to find. But there's going to be lots and lots and lots of exploration to do, especially on the more fringe worlds. You'll be out there collecting data on plants and I don't know, finding asteroid fields and finding plots of lands and surveying. So it's a lot of gameplay in exploration, which also includes survey and that sort of jazz as well. Scanning down points of interest. We have Netflix on TV and spaceships for long BMM and travels. They want to have a lot of things to do on screens and on the mobiGlass, potentially even some physics games. If they allow other people to make mods for mobiGlass, then we'll have like an infinite amount. So if there's one for being able to use browsers in game, which I hope there is, then yeah, you could have Netflix potentially in game. I'm not sure it might only be local for some things, like viewing websites. There might be issues with displaying Netflix in game for multiple people, but if it was just for you, then it might be okay because it'd be your account. You see what I mean? Will there be special ammo to disable ships and help board it? Yes. There will be, the Sentinel, for example, has hack rockets, and there will be EMP weapons. There will be disruption weapons. There already are in the game. So EMPs and disruption weapons. So you would be able to disable certain parts of ships. Also, targeting certain components and whatever. You can blow like all the thrusters off a ship. It can't then move. You can blow up a power plant. You can blow up whatever. And yeah, that will disable ships. Some of these things can be repaired internally. Some of them will require EVA, and some of them will require another ship to come along. I'm hoping they actually do have a hauler at some point. You can literally a tow truck. That's not just like a crucible. My missus has an account, played just before 3.3, couldn't take off without crashing. There's a lot to learn. Yes, she does. What else have we got? Oh, sorry, Flymaze, the bot punishing you. Oh, Flymo. It's okay, it's the bot, don't worry. You don't need to apologise if the bot is, like, overly oppressing you. It's just got generalised settings just to make sure nothing weird happens. Do you think Microtech will be added to 3.7 on the roadmap? Oh, yes. That's actually when I expect it to land. I was potentially expecting, as long as the cloud tech is almost done, like it looks like it's almost done from CitizenCon, that we'd see, maybe not Microtech in 3.7, but maybe Microtech in 3.7, but we'd see whatever the name of the floating city is in Crusader. I mean Crusader to be more interactable. What is it called? I can't remember. New Babbage? No, that's the Microtech one. What do you think about the breakup of Matadors, considering you hyped them in the past? I didn't know they had broken up. Let me just go and message Event Store. Yo. Okay.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
I will remain neutral on it. I think it's a shame if they have broken up or anything. But I think stuff like that's going to happen with all the orgs. I don't know. I'll give them a contact and poke them, see what's happened. What do you think is holding CIG back from implementing cargo on the Urza rover? Same thing that's probably holding them back from cargo on any ground vehicle at the moment. Getting cargo working correctly in gravity in those physics grids, and then having cargo in a vehicle in a spaceship. Multi-grid physics tech and all that sort of stuff. Which is pretty much almost done, I think. The only sort of purpose behind the fact you have to say, we've already talked about that. Can I take at least one box with me on the Mustang to the Mustang Alpha? So the Mustang Alpha is going to have a little openable hatch, hopefully in 3.3 live, that you can put cargo in, and then it'll close it up, and you'll be able to do those cargo missions. At least for mission containers. What else have we got? When do you think we'll see the first of the Hull series? So it probably will be the Hull C. Still, I know that seems counterproductive, but that's what they seem to have been working on. And it's when they finish the multi-grid physics tech. They need that so that they can have proper decompression of those animations when the spindles come down and then open up, and then have cargo attached to that. They also need to update the cargo mechanics so they have multiple sizes of boxes and different looking boxes for different types of cargo. That's what I know that's on the backlog at the moment. I suspect we'll see it by towards the end of next year, probably all done. Have you had anything on dockables, such as the Constellation and Snub Fighter, and what patch may it come out? We've wanted those Parasite Fighters for ages. Again, I actually think it's multi-grid physics tech stuff they need, so that there's docking and multi-grid physics tech, which is all partly related, but they are working on docking. And I think that after the new flight model, they talked about in the flight model panel, they said that that's something they're going to be working on as soon as that new flight model is implemented, or are working on already. There's no ETA, but it'll be as soon as possible. It's obviously super important. Is it possible to test the Mustang in the PTU without owning one? Steal someone else's? Or go into Renegum? No. You have to steal someone else's. Or ask to borrow someone else's. What do you think will happen to items previously purchased on the Voyager Direct store that haven't been converted to credits? Will they go poof until the next reset? Well, you can melt them yourself for UEC. The ones that are real, they will be added to your account eventually. I say real, what I mean is some of them are no longer exist, if you see what I mean. Do you think CIG is making ships less and less modular so they can sell more ships? What? So they want to make them more modular so they can sell more ships. I think they're going to have a big modular thing, probably starting next year, as a push for modularity to ships, even if they haven't been sold with modularity yet. They want to differentiate heavily between hull types, though. For the Caterpillar, that's modular. Like, some of these ships, a lot of them are focused ships, so they don't want them to be too modular, but they've even said there's going to be modularity in the Kraken's cargo bay. So, I don't think they're making them less modular. I just think that some of the ones recently have been less modular. You see what I mean? Do you see the difference there? Time frame for 3.3.5 PTU release. As early as middle of next month. Early as mid-November. I mean, we could get it, yeah, realistically early as mid-November. Did they actually start work on the banning matchman? I see nothing about its progress. So they've done the white box of it, and they've started on some of the common elements of the banning matchman. Once the banning defender is done, they're going to work on the banning matchman in earnest. Yes, we should have 3.3 live before 3.3.5 lands, yes. I mean, not even should, it will be. Yesterday's vid was pretty funny. Pushing NPCs out of the armistice zone so you could finish the mission. It's the fact that NPCs wanted to live in an armistice zone so we couldn't complete the mission was just so annoying. But the first one we pushed out, we ploughed him out. The second one, we'd clip through when we tried to do that, but a load of other players started to help us push them out, which is absolutely great. So thank you very much for any of the players that were there helping us. We didn't call any players to help us. They were just around that area. If everyone in Star Citizen was in perpetual agony and able to control their pain, would the final product be called Citizen? No. But some of the stuff I see on Reddit, I think you're right. I think they are unable to control their pain. Troll face. I've been one of those poor sods who've been struggling with a lot of crash to desktops and bugs. What's your take regarding all those bugs and crash to desktops being fixed for live? I think a lot of them will be fixed for live. I don't think all of them will be fixed for live. There's too many edge cases. They'll get better and better at producing patches. Once the core tech of object container streaming has been done, like not just the client side stuff that we've got, but also the server side stuff. Once they get those pillars in, so it's up to server meshing, I suppose, then we should start to have a lot less crashes once those are in and polished. Until then, some people are going to have a great time, and some people are going to have a less than great time. People love dual stick. I'm not a dual stick fan, actually. For flying, I enjoy the most HOTAS. That's the most enjoyable. However, I'm best at mouse and keyboard, and that is the most easy to record on. So I will probably be mostly playing on mouse and keyboard. Has the new Mustang's cargo been changed from 6 to 4? I don't know, actually. I haven't actually tried to put cargo in them from the cargo menu. Can you show your cat? Well, one of them's dead, so no, not that one, unless that's going to be a very morbid stream. It's Halloween soon. We could dig him up. I don't mean that. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Niv. And Lily, she is too skittish, probably. Well, she's skittish in my room. I train my cats not to come in my room, especially when I'm not around. Because I've got like too many electrics in here, and I think it's dangerous for them. I mean, there are videos of my cat on the internet. Do you think it's unfair that a criminal gets teleported to jail, but their victim has to lie in the dirt waiting for rescue? Well, okay. So the criminality thing. Criminals will get teleported to jail once they're fully captured, is the idea. That's what they basically said. So you go, and that's their current thinking. You get captured, you can teleport to jail. They still have to be in jail. Like, jail's not the great place. Like, jail's the worst place they probably want to be. But yeah, they might have shot someone. That person that's been shot might die, respawn, whatever. Or they might have to wait until a medic comes along and helps them. I think that's just a fact of the game and makes the game more interesting. I do think that if you're killed in a super secure zone, like UEE secure, and you're not like a criminal or whatever, and there's no like specific mission to kill you for some reason or something weird happening, then maybe it shouldn't count as one of your lives when you die. But it needs that sort of stuff needs balancing anyway. Yeah, so we will be able to in the future insure weapons and that sort of stuff and systems separately on ships, or get better insurance for our ships. So at the moment, yeah, at the moment stuff gets purged from the database when your ship gets destroyed. So putting your UEC weapons can result in them being deleted off your account. Well, unavailable until the next patch reset. It's just a testing thing or a bug, but you know, it's a fact of life. I think lifetime insurance won't protect you from everything. So lifetime insurance on a hull of a ship isn't going to protect the value of the weapons on the ship or systems. If Star Citizen meant well, but still made a really uncool joke, would it be rebranded as Too Far Citizen? Edge Citizen? Would it be rebranded as Edgelord? It would be nice if I could stand behind the pilot seat of Mustang Alpha to stretch my legs. Do you think that would be possible sometimes? You can. You can get out of your seat and stretch your legs. Me and Zen have done it. We've both been in the Mustang at the same time. Or even the Beta, the Alpha. There's a little place you can get out of your chair. Once you're in your chair, you can exit behind. Or at least you can open the canopy in space and get behind. And then close the canopy. What we did. I meant, that's cool. When do we anticipate the 3.3 to be finished and PTU released? As early as end of next week, as early as end of next week, I suppose, realistically. Although I think it's probably going to be first week of November, when we'll probably see live build now. And I think we'll see 3.3.5 PTU mid-November. I'm thinking. Do you think 3.4 will be delayed? Seems like their schedule was thrown off after 3.3. Probably not. Might not have all the features in. Might just be a PTU build they give us. Live for everyone PTU. I have to wait and see. They've been able to continue to work on 3.4 and other bits. Even during CitizenCon. Did you ever make a video about popular and active orgs, or do you plan to make one on that topic? Yeah, probably make one on that topic when it's once we have a lot of org play on the go. I will continue to occasionally do my my org series where I look at an individual org. I think I've got Black Star Initiative, which I was supposed to do last month, but I totally sort of like fucked up on that, so I apologise to those guys. I'll try and get that up within the next couple of weeks and interview them. But yeah, I'll still do that org series, and eventually, yeah, we can talk about more org activities and general orgs. But I want to make sure that there are reasons for orgs in game properly, like they're more supported. JP's eyes. I love your face, by the way, Harb. Did you know that we love your face? Yes. Do you know that the Polaris will follow? You think that the Polaris will follow on release after the 890's done? Is it the Polaris they're working on straight after the 890? Yeah, it's a smallish gambler ship. They'll be able to get that done. All the new flight mechanics CIG are talking about. The new flight mechanics CIG are talking about. Are they intended to do the same thing with ground vehicles? Where the Cyclone could use gears or some kind of speed control. Yeah, they'll also be tweaking the stuff on ground. And hover bikes and all that sort of jazz as well, again. 3.4 is when we'll see a load of this changes. Squadron 42 in 2019? I think it is very likely. How many CPU cores threads does Citizen utilize with object container streaming? It will be scalable up to 32, I think, in the future. But do they say 16? I think they said 32 in the future. I'm not sure how many it uses now, but it uses more than It uses more than 4, so that's good. But it will scale up in the future. I upgraded my AMD package. Any way to downgrade to the Mustang again and use the money to buy an extra chip? You can ask CS, but probably not. Updating, so typically you could just melt the ship, but it's a promo ship, so it's a bit more complicated than that. So you can't just do that. You have to contact CS if you want something specific. That's customer service. Can you explain the anniversary sell hype for newer backers so they know what to expect if it's their first time? So anniversary sale, typically they do like a couple of weeks of highlighting the different manufacturers. They have some cool videos. So this can be like new ship adverts, some cool in-game stuff, but also they'll, like last year, they went through all the ship manufacturers and showed a load of the ships that they've been working on and are working on that we hadn't seen for a long time or for a while, and like looked at each of those and like, look at this new Hull series, look at the Orion, it's doubled in size, look at this is where we are with this ship. So it's pretty cool. Can you break people out of jail? Maybe. So what they talked about jail stuff was you could pay fines to get out of jail quicker. You could do work in jail to get out of jail quicker. There might be some missions there. There might be some NPCs to interact with there. Or you can just spend your time there. So there might be jailbreaks as well. That would be great if there is. You just want something that takes time and that is potentially interesting, but is also a punishment. The idea for jail typically is to prevent players or disincentivize players in lawful areas from doing crime. So the more lawful areas, I probably should say. So the UEE zones, really. Yeah, they want a nice balance there. I'm looking to purchase a ship in the £100 range or €100 range. What do you think I should get? An Avenger Titan, or that's probably still my favorite ship. When they've changed the 300 series, 300 series might get some more love from me. But Avenger Titan, it's an all-round ship. It will allow you to do a little bit of everything. It's got good weapons on, good hard points. It might be modular in the future as well, so you might be able to change the cargo bay out the back for the Stalker and all that sort of jazz as well. But it's the best all-round early game ship, and it's a bit better than the starting ships. So, hi, CS Noob here, playing 3.2. CS Noob, Counter-Strike Noob, Star Citizen Noob maybe, Citizen Star Noob. I have the Aurora MR. Can I install cargo space so I can do collection missions? At some point you will be able to put mission containers, the little mission boxes, and some cargo physically in the Aurora yourself. But at the moment you can't. At some point, yes. With the drop of 3.3.0 and 3.3.5 and the introduction of much more content, are you going to get back to Org Spotlights? Yeah, I'm going to do Org Spotlights, whatever, anyway. As I said, Black Star Initiative in the very near future, and then I'll start doing them a bit more. Eventually, I'll do even more stuff on orgs once they've got to that pillar of org gameplay. Oh yeah, the performance is so much better in 3.3. Oh, very crashy in the PT at that moment. During CitizenCon Hurston demo, the hangars looked amazing, but it wasn't clear how they worked in terms of player owned like the old ones or public like Levski. In the short term, they are going to be public like Levski and that sort of stuff. In the future, you might be able to rent bits. Now, the habs they've got, we've seen, they can have blocks of like little tower blocks of 100 people, and they can keep on building those out, and they can keep on expanding out or opening up areas of Lawville for more and more people buying and renting habs. That could be the same for hangars, maybe. Do you know when the Mustang Alpha Vindicator CitizenCon 2948 will be flyable in game? Probably in the PTU at some point. So in a patch or two, expect to see that skin work. But it will almost certainly for the live build. When do you think the Star Lifter will be implemented? Don't know. If it's needed for Squadron 42, then by middle of next year, probably. If it's not, then slightly later, but potentially by end of next year. At least a couple of them, if not all of them, in. Is 2019 a good year for me to stop procrastinating and pledge? The potential for space espionage adventures with a stealth fighter are way too exciting for me to pass on. As soon as they've got full persistence in, Geigen, that's when you want to look to pledge. Then that would be my suggestion. If you're looking for something that's meaningful, space espionage-wise, and to start collecting information and messing around and understanding all of that, wait until full persistence is in, probably at some point next year. Is there any way to switch the game package you bought? Yes, you can melt it by going into your hangar and melting it. Double check to make sure you're getting the right amount of money back, and then you just buy the new package you want. That's if you want to switch game package. When is the anniversary sale? End of November. Don't you want to buy a ship in the $300 range? How much was the Hull C? Was it 245? Something like that? That was right for the Hull C. I pulled that number on my ass though. The ships are likely to be at all different prices now in this sale because they would have thought about it more and let them be closer to release. So wait for the sale, see what you've got, try and work out what sort of gameplay you're interested in, CitizenCon. Is this Cutlass Black still in the $100 range? It's either $100 or $115. But yeah, solid ship. Hammerhead's so expensive now. I wish I had bought a Hammerhead previously, but I did not. What else have we got? Whereas the visual armor, the virtual armor, and I noticed that in the past few items, the roadmap have been marked done, but haven't been implemented. So in 3.3, the PTU, they feed more and more bits in. They just turn them on and off and test them. So it will appear at some point. Yeah, Levski is broken as hell currently. It's even in the patch notes, like, warning, Levski, boom. I've got a Mustang, a Freelancer, and a Sabre, but I don't see myself as a proper fighter pilot. I've been thinking of upgrading my Sabre to a Caterpillar for cargo. Convince me there's a better path, please. I mean, there's always time to learn a bit of combat. Sabre is one of the best single-seater fighters. It's also going to be good for stealth. So even if you're not good at combat, you can typically sneak past or get the alpha strike on an enemy. So it's up to you. Your Mustang, you could probably upgrade to be reasonable in combat anyway. It's up to you. If you want the Caterpillar for cargo, cool. Caterpillar's a much bigger ship. You're not going to do any fighter gameplay or whatever, then maybe yeah, swap off the Sabre. Referrals require you to have spent at least $45 on a game package for that person to get a referral that referred you. So if you only spent $35, you won't get them. Do you think the Redeemer will end up as the Avenger of the medium-sized ships? Will it be solely combat without bounty hunter role? The Redeemer is becoming a gunship. So the Valkyrie, dropship. The Redeemer is going to be the gunship version of that. So no real ability to drop people off anymore, but it will, while the Valkyrie's dropping people off, it can spin around areas just blowing stuff apart. So it's going to be great on atmospheric gameplay and for assaulting larger ships that you're trying to board or flying around space stations or whatever. It's going to be a proper gunship. Not like the Hammerhead, or like a different sort of thing, but it's going to be like more of a Valkyrie sized. Any ideas if AI FPS combat will be added to other areas in 3.3 other than Korea? I don't know. I was expecting FPS combat AI to not just be in Korea, but also be on outposts on the ground and in some ships. so in some sort of like derelicts. I'm expecting that in 3.3 still. Do you think the end game of Star Citizen is not large ships, but land and space stations? Ships are meant to that end. I think they both, they're not mutually exclusive, and they both have a part, and I think both can be end game. It's interesting, it's not only got as much end game as Eve does, sort of thing, I think. Recommendations for mid-level exploration ship, Terrapin or Der? The Der. The Terrapin is more of a scouting reconnoitering ship. Trying to find true benefit for the massive cost differentiation. The Der is my preferred one for actual exploration. How long do you think we... What happens to my ship if I lose internet without using a bed? You should be able to literally rejoin the instance you were in, and you will spawn literally where you were. You'll be in the same instance, and next to your ship, on your ship still. Should remember everything. What's your pro and con about keyboard, HOTAS, joystick? Joystick takes a long time to master, but probably gives you best results when it comes to combat. But obviously, if you've got that and then you want to switch between FPS, if you want to keep on switching between gameplay, so FPS and have precision and all that sort of stuff, mouse and keyboard's going to be better. And HOTAS, it just feels the most comfortable, and it's the coolest. What does full persistence mean? So, assume that there's not going to be any resets, and you can do most of the stuff in game. You can buy ships in game, all that sort of stuff. The game will know where you've logged out, and you can log back on there, that sort of stuff. But you don't constantly log back in Levski or whatever. Everything's meaningful. With VoIP and VoIP, what do you think about speaking the inner thought instead of having to click on them? Oh, Joe, I see what you mean. You could probably set that up through some bodged programming. So I see what you mean. That'd be cool. Probably more trouble than it's worth for CIG to try and implement that. But you could certainly get some third-party people doing it. I think they did it pretty well as well. On your next office tour, can you command CIG to release VoIP-controlled ship at some time? I want to fire a gunship's weapons by frowning. Oh, VoIP-controlled.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Thank you very much, Citizen Shenanigans, with the Twitch Prime. There's anonymous on the screen, don't know why, but fuck you. Appreciate it. Anyone wants to use their mum and daddy's credit cards to send me money, or use their Twitch Prime to subscribe, it's always appreciated. Thank you very much. What do you think about the cargo hold of the Merc? The Mercury? Will it fit a rover? No, it won't. I mean, Polysapien, I wouldn't feel cheated. Like, the winner of the next great starship was chosen based on the stuff they were building. If you had built a specific gunship, no, you wouldn't feel cheated, would you? You lost based on whatever you knew what you're going in for, the next great starship, and you knew what it was. It's a set winning pattern. The rules were already there. Not as if they changed.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Hope you've been well. CitizenCon in UK next year.
I'm pretty sure that it's going to be in the UK next year. I'm also going to have to buy tickets for Zin and Zen and potentially DC as well. That's going to be an expensive CitizenCon. I'll do a fundraising for it, even if it's in the UK. But yes, I will 100% to be there if it's in the UK, which it almost certainly will be. Thank you very much, Mentachi, for the sub, by the way. Love your face. How do the hangars shown in CitizenCon Huston demo work in terms of being player owned and rented? They are public. for the short term anyway. Hey man, is there any chance that you have a reclaimer and I can test it in the PU? I want to buy one when they sell them again. I want to test it a little first. After I'm done on the stream, I will be playing Star Citizen for a large part of the day, as long as the R patch isn't going to make me headbutt the wall, the ceiling, floor, constantly. So if you're around, Black Panthers, then you're more than welcome to mess around in my reclaimer if I'm on that account. I will be on that account at some points. But jump in the Discord and I'll put my details in there again later. Question, it's regarding bounty hunting. What do you think about letting the captured person have the option to stay and attempt to escape, or just jail? Love your face. I think if they can do gameplay that would actually allow that, then that would be cool as an option. However, simple is always better for first implementations. And they can work out if there's anything out there, cool stuff they could do. But I do like that idea. But I don't think you will be able to escape. I suppose people could come rescue you. Hey, Captain Monkey. What are your views about when version 1.0 hits the shelves? Do you think CIG
Tricksy
will
little
hackers
hobbitses.
and what the noob experience will be? Oh, John. Thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. I'm hoping that the noob experience will be that we have a tutorial, and that all of the professions will individually have starting missions for, or ways of being pulled into that aren't me just watching YouTube videos on how to do them. That said, I mean, it'll be better for my channel if they got fuck all support for noobs. I think we'll see what we would deem a live release of the game in about 3 years' time. End of 2021. That's when I'd expect to see a live-ish version of Star Citizen. What else have we got here? Are we going to get dynamic NPCs that we can hire as companions to our crew and ships? And FPS with solo players like me? Yes. You're going to have to hire individual NPCs. You're going to have to hire crews of NPCs. Do you think bounty hunters can use quantum disruption without getting in trouble? Love your face. I think that quantum disruption, the way that Tony Zerovic talked about it, will be a crime in certain areas. So the actual use and discovery of you using that would get you in trouble. However, if you used it, if you do crimes in front of criminals, if you used it to grab a criminal out of quantum travel, and you didn't get anyone that's lawful, then that probably wouldn't be a crime. Hey, we'll go over watch content for years. First time I could say hi. Hey, Slow J Man. If you need a crew member at launch, I'll join your crew. Do you have Discord or for something like that? Yes, discord.gg/BoredGamer. Please join on that. I'll say hi. I'll be starting to play a lot more regularly with 3.3 going live, but I'm starting to play during the days as well anyway, and if people are more than welcome to jump in with me, but it's typically me filming for B-roll or messing around with something. Typically I haven't got any major plans for stuff I do when I jump in game at the moment. Will Orison be in game? Yes, at some point. Thoughts on what needs to be done before NPC crews are released? Good question. They need to have them partly simulated. So what Tony Zerovic was talking about was they want crew that you're not looking at or are not needed to be fully simulated. So like that NPC there walking past us doesn't need to be needs to be fully simulated, but now he's out of my vision. I suppose he doesn't. But when you're on ships, especially so, like people that are on a capital ship that are nowhere near another player, they can be simulated, but they don't need to be physically simulated. So they need to get that all done there, and that allows them to have lots more NPCs because they give the functionality to your ship based on their stats and numbers, but they don't need to actually be running around unless they do. Some things will make them spawn into existence physically, but like players getting near them. There's lots of stuff that needs to be done for NPCs to be released and hireable. Thank you very much, Alfred. Oh, for all the bits. Thank you. Speaking of game controls, what are your thoughts on the LEA extended input? I don't know what that is. I probably do, but my brain can't think of what it is. Did a drunk Sandy say at CitizenCon there's a December Squadron 42 con planned? I no. I don't think so. Might be some December, live streamy vertical slicey stuff. They asked for dropship, if I'm not mistaken, and now that dropship is a gunship. There were some excellent dropships from the series, and I'd say I would feel cheated. Very Spectre's position. That's all cool. It's I'm just sort of like meh. Sometimes that's my position. Not a defendable point. Don't need to defend it. Like you asked me what my opinion was, I gave you my opinion. So good. Expect yours too. What happened to the floating junk crabs from last year? The Oni crabs. Oni crabs! I can't remember what their actual names are. They should be life forms around Hurston at some point. Boo Huxley, thank you very much for the love. I appreciate it. Just popped in to say thank you for the stupefying number of videos uploaded since CitizenCon. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have you ever questioned... have you ever questioned if you were the tutorial board? Your answers on these streams have done a lot to teach me what Star Citizen actually is. Thank you. I appreciate that, love. So, for my channel, I will do more tutorials when they're relevant. I'll do more generalistic tutorials typically. I will do specific guides once they become relevant, once we have more persistence, once it becomes reasons to try to make money. I suppose in 3.3.5, I will do tutorials on how to make UEC as quickly as possible, so that you can rent ships and that sort of stuff. Thank you. I appreciate the love, but primarily I'm a news station and talk about summaries of things. What type of camera controls do you want to exist in the Persistent universe for release from the perspective as a player, as a content creator, cinematic camera, third person, replay a la GTA 5? Maybe. I don't really know. I need to really think about it. I like the idea of having third person and all those things, but you'd literally have to have a drone that floats around next to you to get third person camera. And that would allow you to do lots of other things as well. So like if you are using third person camera to look around the corner, you'd have your drone just go the camera. People could shoot that, and people could disable it with an EMP, things like that. And people would be able to see it as well, as the other thing. It's taken them many years to create the solar system. To create a star system, Stanton, and it's still not finished. How are they going to make all the other solar systems or star systems when it takes them years to make one? Well, they've made other ones already, like Odin and potentially the Lear system and potentially Earth. It doesn't take them very long to make a star system. It takes them a long time to make the individual biomes and to make hero assets. But that's what they're building with Stanton. They're building all of those out, and then they can just reuse them. They'll recolor them. They'll change shaders. They'll change vegetation and things like that. But once they have Stanton done, they're able to rapidly build out. They could make 100 systems just in a month if they wanted to. Bam, 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 all procedure generated. They wouldn't be super interesting, but they'd have content in each of them. They'd have mission content in each of them. They wouldn't have any landing zones, but they could put space station, the truck stops down. Obviously, it takes a while for them to then make those systems interesting and unique, and have those hero landing assets and those individual cities on. So, actual creation of those solar systems or star systems, pretty quick. But that's why they're working on Stanton. So they need all of Stanton done. The more biomes, the better. And Stanton gives a good big cross section of a lot of different biomes. Is the other idea. Do Star Marine in 3.3.5 hold up? I haven't played it. I haven't played it in 3.3. And no one's played it in 3.3.5 as far as I'm aware. Do you think that the playable area of ArcCorp and Area 18 will be on a similar scale to what we're getting on Hurston. Yeah. If not, well, yeah, probably on a similar scale. Might be a bit larger on an Arc potentially, because the actual dense cityscape is the entire planet's a cityscape. It's got no open area to run around on, so they'd have probably more trains and more trams, and they'll be able to take you to more landing zone type places. There'll probably be slum areas potentially where you could do some missions around. Is the Polaris in Squadron 42? Not as far as I'm aware, but it might be. Not in episode 1, as far as I'm aware. Probably what I should say. Have I been trapped in Levski yet? No, because I read on the patch, don't go to Levski. Do you see they expanded Levski in the latest patch? No, I didn't realise they had expanded it. I will have a look at Alfred. Hopefully you're not trying to get me trapped there. Benny Henge is still in game as far as I'm aware. Major things in terms of gameplay for 3.3 are, I suppose the major thing is object container streaming, so actually having frame rates of above 1. There's some new mission givers. They've got rest stops, so they've got literally the new space stations in space that will allow you to... they basically replace Cryastro, is what they've done. A load of new ships, so you got the Valkyrie, which was like a CitizenCon. Ooh, you didn't know we were making that, did you? The Hammerhead, the Mustang series has been reworked. You've got the Constellation Phoenix and all of the Cyclone variants. What else have we got? We've got FPS AI. That's probably one of the most major things. So around Korea, there's FPS missions to fight some dudes there. Hopefully we should get them on outposts and around derelicts as well for more interesting missions. There's loads of new AI stuff as well with like ships and things. There's item degradation, scramble races, mining on asteroids. Is there anything else I've missed? And we're getting just like better turrets and better group systems and shit like that. And his scanning's supposed to be better, but I haven't actually seen better scanning yet. New mission giver Recco Battaglia. With a limpy leg. Probably not politically correct, but you know. 3.3.5 has a load more, so that has more mission giver, more mission stuff, and has Hurston and Lorville, which is the planet we can see here, and that's a huge gameplay area, an actual planet, loads of biomes, and 4 moons. And potentially some other stuff as well. Oh, and the ability to purchase and rent ships from in-game. That's big. With in-game currency. Well, considering the ships with in-game credits will be expensive like hell, do you think you'll be able to keep up after a new patch will come out, or do you have to start again from 0? You'll probably have to start again from 0 until they have 4th persistence in, but you'll be able to rent the ships as well. It will cost you more in the long term, but in the short term you'll be able to get them a lot quicker. Griefing does not become excused by claims of role-playing. So, yeah, I mean, griefing is a very different thing than pretty much everything that people think it means, or a lot of people think it means. Griefing, a lot of people think piracy in general is griefing, or killing someone is griefing. Griefing is very specific. Griefing would be, for example, joining someone's crew on a mission, and then blowing up their ship with you in it, just because. And then doing that repeatedly. That was sort of griefing. Repeatedly ramming someone on a landing pad in a UEE zone so that you can't retaliate unless you do the same sort of thing. But things like that. Things that are sort of like, what the fuck's the point? Like, why are you doing that? You're abusing in-game systems to repeatedly kill me for no reason. That's different from piracy, and that's different from lots of other things that it could be. Like, if you're doing espionage and you're actually trying to destroy an org's facilities. Now, you could argue if you joined an org and then you worked your way up on them and then you got access to like a load of their ships and destroyed them all, some people would say that's griefing. Some people would say, well, no, that's not griefing. That's espionage. But if you used in-game systems to exploit something, to the end of just fucking over other people's stuff just for the lols, that's more griefy. If you are specifically targeting one person for only to prevent them from playing the game or to sort of like elicit an emotional response or whatever, that's trolling or griefing. So, but there's I'll do a tenets of griefing at some point as a video, because one of the things you'll see in Eve is that rich, bored people will do weird things, and that's not necessarily griefing. Sometimes it is, but not necessarily. Thoughts on voice attack? Do you use it? I haven't used it for a while. I will start using it again, probably. I like voice attack. How many planets are in Star Citizen so far? Well, none currently in the current build. Only moons. Unless you count Crusader, which is a gas giant which you can't really visit at the moment. But Hurston will be the first one in 3.3.5. Have you heard any news on prospectors being able to drop bags to be transported by friends? No, not yet. It's on the back burner, I know that though. Not back burner, backlog. Hey BoredGamer, do you think that CIG will one day ramp up the damage scale so make ships like the Hammerhead less squishy? Yes, time to kill for larger ships will be increased. They want that. They want people to be able to run around during fights and repair systems. They need longer time to kill for the larger ships, and it will scale upwards, probably. Where is server object container streaming? I don't know. It's not on the roadmap at the moment. I'm expecting it in 3.4 though. Should the Kraken have a bar? I would have liked there to be a little rec room there. Yes, with a little bar. Do you think they would do a package where you don't get a ship to being with? Just the game? Oh, just a game package. They've talked about it briefly, and they said probably not. They probably always have some form of starter ship with a game package, but they'll probably do like a really lightweight one. Bored, do you think CIG will make the end of October deadline for 3.3? Why is that a deadline? Can you please link me a source of where that's their deadline? I'm curious, just in case there is one. But I don't think there is. Do you think exploration ships like the Terrapin won't get any love at release because of the limited amount of star systems? No, so the Terrapin is supposed to be more of a scouty ship rather than a true exploration ship. You're supposed to use it to like scan down enemy fleets and go into dangerous nebulas and scan bits and bobs. So it's not as long range explorer as the Carrack. And the Carrack is going to be able to go into odd locations and expect weird procedurally generated missions and content with the Carrack is what I'm expecting when going out into fringe space. There's no new information on the Mercury Star Runner other than the FAQ and the original concept. What ship do I wish was never in development? I mean, I fucking hate the Reliant. The Redeemer, because they're remaking it. I'm sorry, people that won the next great starship. Exploration covers so many game areas at the moment, from surveying to scanning things down like asteroid fields, information sort of like hoarding. It needs to. A lot of people, when they talk about exploration, they're talking about finding pretty things on unexplored space or in the edges of explored space or explored systems. Both need to be catered for. Do you think it's feasible that CIG may release more ships straight to playable, like they've done with the Valkyrie? Yes, they will do that when it comes to Squadron 42 ships. It's like those are Vandal ships and things, isn't it? So, after Squadron 42 is mostly wrapped up, do you expect a significant increase in Star Citizen development? I expect a significant I think it will look like that. Once Squadron 42 Episode 1 comes out, there will be a load of stuff from that will come into Star Citizen. It'll be like, boom, a big boom of content for like 3 to 6 months. Bam. But it's more just the Squadron 42 stuff. Squadron 42 that they're working on, a load of that tech is being used for Star Citizen. It's just a lot of Squadron 42 stuff is cinematic stuff.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Stuff for specific scenes and NPCs. Really polished certain military ships. But yeah, there'll be a lot more people working on Star Citizen development. I also suspect you'll see a bit of a downsizing with, or an equilibrium with new hires and stuff. So maybe they'll stay at around 550, or maybe they'll go down to around like a 500-person studio, that sort of stuff. So that's what I'd expect. So when will we be able to buy ships in-game? That does mean they will reset the servers. No, that doesn't mean they'll stop resetting the servers. When you buy ships in-game, they'll still reset the servers from patch to patch, hopefully less. When they have full persistence in, that will mean that they will probably stop resetting the servers. They might do like a big reset once the game is live or it goes to beta or whatever again. Ramming is a gameplay feature. There are at least 4 ships in game designed to do it. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, even the hammer, or you might have been talking about the hammerhead has a reinforced bridge to be able to do it, or at least be able to survive it better. Obviously, the Vandal ships, they love ramming. No, when I was talking about ramming, I was like, if you're ramming someone repeatedly at Port Olisar in an armistice zone, they can't retaliate. That could be griefing if you're just doing it for the walls as well. But ramming is not griefing in general, especially if you're in space. If you're using like systems at your disposal and like, I've got 35 ships, you've got 2. I'm going to keep on ramming you and lock you down at this pad, lol. Like that's a bit of a mixture of a dick move. There's a lot of stuff that is a borderline griefing. You'd be like, oh no, I was doing it because we're supposed to be keeping this guy here. And it's like, okay, well, it's, so one of the things I do with Sin and DC is we watch these Overwatch videos, which are CS:GO has an anti-cheating thing, where they show you a video of someone that's been reported for cheating, and then you say, without, is there insufficient evidence for a particular cheat or whatever they've been reported for, or is it blatant that they're doing it? So it'll be stuff like cheating and hacking, using scripts to jump around, aimbots, wall hacking, and griefing. And griefing is actually a few different things, which can be purposely losing rounds, damaging teammates on purpose, things like that. So when I look at griefing, I look at, could this be anything except for griefing? And then I need griefing defined really into a category. But I'll probably try and do it in a video at one point. Like, I want to talk about the dangers of rich bored people in games, which like you have in Eve, people doing interesting things like free ship, guys, in the middle of Jita, which is like the most secure area. People jump out their pods and their ships to try and get the free ship, and then you smart bomb them, killing them, but then killing you, and you lose your ship as well, and you'll just be like, lols! So that's that's a dick move. Rich bored people will do lots of things like that, and they'll try and get around ways of doing that, and some of this will be griefing, and some of this will be like, fuck, well, they're sort of allowed to do that from gameplay because the mechanics are there to do that. But some of it's exploitative, some of it's not, some of it is literally just to feed on the tears of others, and that isn't necessarily griefing either, but in a lot of situations it will be. So I'll try and define what I think griefing is in the video at some point, but I'll also use Eve as examples and show what people might expect from PvP element of it as well. Do you think they will add systems with planets but have them like Crusader is now and add them in later? I think that's less likely to happen now. I think a lot of the stuff that when they add in, they'll want to have some form of support for it. So that if it's Crusader or something like that, then they'd have a landing zone there. But they could have gas giants, I suppose, to do like that. With the new Kreskover having prosthetic leg, do you think that means they'll have them for us for multiple limbs? Potentially, yes. He has a prosthetic leg and a prosthetic hand. Robot arm. It depends on whether they change our gait and our movement and stuff. Like, if it's purely aesthetic, then very likely. But hers looks like it changes the way she walks. Do you think they would have a package where you don't get a ship? You know, we've already talked about that. Moving cargo without mag floors. Is this something that works, the PTU? I haven't tried it. It will probably work. Unsecure cargo is dangerous, though, I suppose that's the idea. Can you tell us about the... We talked about that. I don't think it's going to be big enough to hold a rover. Or at least it won't be able to enter and leave with a rover. The aperture and the door's not big enough. How many buildings will be able to destroy... How much buildings will be able to destroy, and will there be a longer smoke effect for impacts from weapons? They'll tweak that stuff. I'm not sure what's going to happen with outposts and stations that are more destructible. I'm not sure if they'll just be able to be damaged so they'll stop being used or be destroyed. I'm hoping that they can be destroyed. Will ship selling $4 end with server meshing? Well, no. No, it won't. They'll still sell ships for monies. Can you sell your armor and weapons? You will be able to, yes. You can't at the moment. Which patch am I most excited about? Probably 3.4 at the moment, actually. Have all CitizenCon session videos been posted online, or are there more to come? There are more to come. Especially, there's a good amount. I think there's like another 7 or so to come. Those are the second stage ones. The alien biomes one is what I'm looking forward to. Started a war on the Reliant. Good for you. I appreciate that. Fucking hate the Reliant. But I am probably going to be buying a Mako, the news van. So, if you bought a ship in game after a server reset, will you lose it? Yes. How dare they do that? You grind 3 months to buy a ship, bought it, and then server reset. Wow, you're getting pre-angry about something. The fact they're obtainable in game for testing is important. I want that. I think everyone wants that. Also, you can rent them, and we're not sure how long we're gonna have to grind for stuff. The game's in testing. If you don't want to do that, then don't do it. But you can just rent the ship instead, which will be a lot cheaper. Do you think the 600i will get a rework since the Phoenix is more luxury than the Origin? Yes, the 600i will be getting a rework, even if it's just a light rework, after the 890 jump is finished. They've already said that. Do you think it'll be viable to collect a lot of ships in the PU, or things like hangar fees and insurance costs add up? Yes, they will add up eventually, definitely. So bear that in mind. Owning a big fleet is probably going to be quite costly. Caterpillar or Hercules C2? Depends what you want to do, Shane. If you want to do more stuff on planets and you want to mess around with tanks and vehicles, or do then the Hercules. And if you just want to do pure space cargo, then the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar's going to be modular as well to do some other stuff as well. So bear that in mind. Ken Dodd's dad's dog's dead. Why? What? What MMO lets you keep earned money and items from Alpha to Beta badges? There's probably some, but I can't think of any. Good point. Will the Reliant get a rework? The Reliant is getting some, at least light rework stuff. Isn't it in 3.4 getting? Yeah, so in 3.4, so at the end of the year, the Reliant is getting some improvements and some revisitments, and the rest of the Reliant cores, the Reliance coming out then at the same time. I think they are. They're coming out. So it's getting a little bit of a rework in 3.4, and in 3.5, the ship is getting the variants are coming out. Piracy isn't griefing. Stop being a snowflake. Shit, son. With the anniversary sale approaching, any words of wisdom to stop me buying all the ships in game? My wallet is looking very nervously. Only buy ships that you really, 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 really love. You will be able to get them all in game. So potentially buy hardware. I own a Connie, and last time we tried to load a rover, it just started bouncing around. Did we miss a step? No. It can just bug out. Sometimes, if you put them in, they will just sit properly. Sometimes they will bug out.
Tricksy little
There's no way to
hobbitses.
lock them in place properly yet. I'm hoping that they have a park land function, like ships do eventually. Commander Commander Dr. Dragon. Thank you very much for the sub. I love your face. Appreciated. Can I get C4 in game? Yes, you can. There will be salvage charges, but there's also going to be likely more directed explosive charges. Mix more bombs and pat people on the back. Give them a little... Oh, I see. And there will probably be sticky bombs of some description as well. I think the C4 I was thinking out would more be for taking out structures and doors and things. Or salvage, literally blowing off parts of ships. Do you think base building gameplay on land and space should be a pillar to release? No. So individual gameplay mechanics were left off that. They literally, those last three pillars they're trying to do, organization gameplay, full persistence, and server meshing are the core gameplay experience for, you know, having the servers sort of like persistent and working, in my opinion. And there's so many other gameplay things that need to be done for the game to be released or thought of it as a released product. Oh, so some people having good experiences with the 3.3.0 R patch. Sorry, 0 R patch. Is the Polaris part of Squadron 42? I don't know. I don't think it's part of Squadron 42 Episode 1, but it could be. If I were to pick a primary ship for some space espionage adventures, what would you recommend? Depends what exactly you want to do. If you want to do crew stuff, the Mercury might actually be a good shout. The Saber Ravens, probably a good shout for a single player. Terrapin would be pretty good. There's lots. It depends exactly what you want to do. I'm planning on doing base building, yes. I've got a Pioneer. I've got the base building mega ship. One of the last big ships I've bought. I melted some ships like my Cutlass Black and stuff to buy a Valkyrie. If the Valkyrie can't fit in the Javelin, which is a possibility, then I might sell my Valkyrie. I know the Valkyrie fits in the Bengal because they made the Bengal bigger. Petra, I just heard about Star Citizen and the controversy between It's a Scam and It's a Visionary Project, finished around 2020. Left me polarized. Do you have some words for a newcomer? What experience to expect? If you're a newcomer, watch the project, read the news, and play the game and give feedback on the stuff. It's not a sit down and play game yet. It might not be for a year or two, probably a couple of years, or it's anything near that. I try to stay off, in a lot of situations, those polarizing areas, because it's fine to have an opinion. Typically, those polarizing areas, though, people don't give a fuck about your opinion, and all you're doing is opening yourself up to be attacked. And typically, the person that's attacking you, they won't use any form of actual fact. It'll be anecdotal evidence. And then lots of people just fight with anecdotal evidence, and it's just bullshit. Or anecdotal experiences or whatever. The thing, it's a scam. It's obviously not a scam. That's 100%. That is demonstrably untrue that it's a scam. It's a visionary project, finished around 2020. I mean, that can't be proven either. We don't know if it's going to be finished around 2020. I think we'll have a beta, or something that we would say is similar to a beta at the end of 2020. That's me personally. But, yeah. There's obviously a Star Citizen hate group, or people that you get it with every game, though. You get people that love just to antagonize or watch the world burn. There's also some valid criticism of stuff. Typically, when it's criticism of the project, people use a lot of anecdotal evidence or some sort of factual evidence that they interpret in a weird way. A lot of that stuff, I mean, it's a weird thing. People will be like, oh, they've mismanaged the project. Well, they probably have in some aspects. No project is 100% efficient. They've definitely made mistakes in the past. They've definitely had controversies when it's come to the way they've developed stuff. Nothing's been done like this before, though. So it's a lot of, well, they are landing their feet. They were a junior company. They're starting to become less than a junior company now. They've expanded. They're trying to be like Blizzard. They do stuff wrong, especially with marketing, but it's cool. It's a cool project. If you like what you see with Star Citizen and you want to have your feedback and opinions in it now, then join and play around, mess around. But places like Reddit and the forums, they aren't always a place for sharing ideas and talking. There are a lot of it is just people getting angry at each other or attacking. So that's polarizing. Stuff that's polarizing is just annoying, especially when there's no factual evidence or actual proper debate going on. It's just sort of like an attack fest, or I want to be right, I'm right, listen to me. And it's like, oh my god, really? It's okay to be wrong. Also, you don't need to defend Star Citizen. Also, you don't need to attack Star Citizen from every possible angle. And some of these things are sort of like, oh, it's a scam, the game's never going to be released, and they're taking all your money, and the game's going to be shit. And there's all of these things together that can't possibly exist, but they attack them from all of those angles at the same time. It can't be a scam and be a shit game and never be released, but also when it's released, it's going to be pay to win. It can't be all of those things. Some of those are mutually exclusive. And attack them from all angles. It's just a weird thing. So I'd say everything has a polarizing, has fringes of polarizing community. And, you know, you can avoid that in Star Citizen, and I would. I, however, read and watch all the shit I can on Star Citizen, whether it's polarizing, whether it's trash, whether it's fantastic, whether it's validating my opinions or going against them, because I want to know what the community thinks, and I want to know what people think, and I want to, when someone asks a question, I want to be able to give a honest as answer as possible based on the facts that I have. I don't need to defend Star Citizen, even as a content creator for Star Citizen. My channel will do well, even if the game does have some sort of weird element to it, or something, or a component or gameplay part that I don't like. It will still do great. And as a person, I think, as a Star Citizen backer, I'm more worried about certain aspects of the game being not what I want them to be. However, there will be aspects of the game that are what I want them to be, and I'll probably concentrate on them when I'm actually playing it. Will the Vanguard get a rework? It'll probably get a light. Well, it'll definitely get. All the ships are going to get rebalanced. All the ships are going to get reworked when it comes to how they fly and all that sort of jazz, because there's a new flight model coming in with 3.4. The variants will be done probably mid of next year. That's what I'm expecting, like properly. Obviously, we've had the Hoplite and the standard Vanguard, but we do need those electronic warfare ones and the Harvey. What do you think about the prices of the two newest ships from CitizenCon, especially the Valkyrie? Do you think CIG is trying to squeeze as much dollars as they can from us? Yeah, I do think they're trying to do that. They are, our business and their marketing team are literally there to try and charge us the best possible amount for them to get the most money and the most sales. Which big ships do I have? Carrack, Banu Merchantman, Pioneer, Javelin, 2 Orions. Endeavour, Master Set.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, Kitra. No, thank you very much for the bits. Appreciate it. And thank you very much for the question as well. I mean, I'm sorry I go for a rant. Sometimes I have a rant. I think that's all the big ships I have. I'm going to be getting Zen a couple at some point. Don't tell him that. Does he get really excited? That's how he sounds. Pioneer, Reclaimer, 890 jump. That's a few more. Yeah. Is it a scam if you're still having fun? Oh shit. It's not a scam. It's not vaporware, it's not a scam. There was definitely feature creep. There's definitely been stuff they've done wrong in the past, especially with marketing. The game definitely suffered from mismanagement when it comes to getting Ilphonic to do some stuff and not communicating with them. That kind of slowed the project down by a year. Adding planetary landings in probably slowed the project down by another year. However, it is super cool, and I'm glad they added planetary landings. A lot of the stuff they're trying to do, if they do it well, it'll be worth it. But
dodging bullets like
I think
beautiful.
actually one of the things that people identified, Engels, thank you very much for the bitch. So one of the more attack points that I can get behind with it is that the release dates were just fucking terrible. Like they've talked about Squadron 42 coming out. So the original game, Kickstarter, people expected to come out a lot longer, a lot earlier. Well, the reason that they changed the scope of it, they got a load of money, they changed the scope immediately. They went bam, wham, it's a different game now. So that did happen. I can understand these $2 million dollars in Kickstarter money, whatever. I can understand some of those people being annoyed. I suspect that it's very few of them, but I can understand that. Now, previously they've talked about schedules for releases, and they have been wildly off, or have been misinterpreted massively by Chris when he's communicating them, and things like that. So, like when the game's going to be released, when like 2016, I thought we thought we were going to have it. We thought that we're going to have Squadron 42 earlier, significantly earlier, and those dates are wildly wrong because, well, they're making something beautiful, but they didn't communicate that properly until now. Now they're starting. For the last couple of years, they've started to really communicate that stuff a billion times better. So I can understand people being annoyed at the release dates and saying, well, they've had to have known that those release dates they were giving weren't right. Well, maybe they miscommunicated them. I mean, that's me defending them, or at least making an assumption there. But just as much as that, clearly they knew that they had to be wrong, I could say, well, maybe they didn't. Maybe they just communicated wrong. You know, we don't know. We don't know. But that's one of the only things that I can imagine people actually have more of a genuine gripe about, or at least I have a bit of a, I can see that. And there's other things as well, especially with marketing, but you know, it's enough of that. Where do I recommend going if not the subreddit? We can go to the subreddit, you can go to the forums, just be aware that it's a good place to read and get some information, but not all places on those subreddits and forums are great for information. Some of them are just slagging matches. Not everyone's post is going to be, you know, accurate or true or whatever. Some stuff's popularity based. You should not vote if something is correct based on popularity. I remember DC told me a story, actually. Gather round, children. DC told me a story about the Oculus Rift, okay? So DC's part of these lots of tech forums and things. And some guy on the forum posted that, I came down to my Oculus Rift and it was warm in the morning. It's really nice that they've put heaters into the product. And loads of people were like, oh yeah, it's really great. Oh yeah, I didn't even know it had that feature. DC went, there aren't heaters in the product that they've put in there. It's just that where the heat's coming from is where the boards are. And it just so happens that if you leave your Oculus plugged in and it's on, it's going to be warm. Well, it's not a heater in there. It's not a specific feature. It's just that's because the boards are there. And he got massively voted down. And this guy got massively voted up saying, no, it's a heater. There's no heater in that. There's no proof there's a heater in that. And it's sort of weird stuff that you get. Some ideas are pushed down by popularity, even if they're incorrect, even if they're demonstrably untrue. So all I'm saying is when you go on forums and when you go on the Reddit, read, assimilate information, but stay objective and critical. Yeah? Anecdotal evidence shouldn't sway you to, this is how it is. People saying they know how the game is going to end up, or this is how this is going to be. They probably don't know that. Well, they certainly can't know that if it's not already in the game. They can talk from it. So just bear that in mind. That's all I'm saying. When I talk about stuff, I say the devs say this, or this is what they've said is the plan for this. So that's all. All I can do is relay information as I see it, like, you know, the news. But again, I've gone off on another tangent, but that was DC's little story about DC. Especially your due diligence. Yeah. Well, even if I don't do due diligence, I can read an article and then say, this is what this article says. If I'm displaying anything as fact, I'll try and do due diligence, or at least I'll say where it comes from. Typically. Especially when in a video. Less likely to do it here. This is more of me just having a rant. Would you be angry if I blew you up while recording on your channel? Because I would love the challenge. So that's happened to me before, or at least I've been rammed by ships. Occasionally it's more funny than anything else, it's content. I'm making money while I'm playing games. If I was recording, and I was trying to do something, and I was just about to finish doing it, and it was a very specific, this is how you do this, tutorial mission or something like that, I was trying to explain something, that would annoy me. But I'd probably record it and then release that as a thing. I'd market it. I'd make that into a product. I'm a content creator, so I think that if I got genuinely pissy about stuff, obviously I could just go start streaming and being pissy about things, and then people would do it more, and I'd probably make more money from literally people's my reaction at people attacking me or whatever. But that's not what I want to do. That sounds terrible. And being more sort of like about it, or taking it as a laugh, that's a good thing. Whatever. There'll be ways in the future that it's less likely people are going to grief you or ram you because lols. In safe areas anyway. You're right about the delays of 3.3 and the movement to 3.3.5. You think they might affect 3.4? Yes, potentially they might. Can't say that for sure. They've basically said that that's hopefully not what's going to happen, but I have to see. Yes, the Javelin's from referrals. So technically, though, the EMP generators on the Saber Raven are missiles, technically, or they take missile slots. So I think the Saber Raven's pretty well designed for what it is. I mean, I'd like it to have bigger guns because I got loads of them, but you know, I don't have a Bengal now. I would love if I did. Hey, BoredGamer, I like life skill, and I have a merchantman. And my wife, a Endeavour. What, you're married to an Endeavour? Congrats. 2 nice ships that need a good crew. Do you know any ship that can do a non-combat function that's okay for 2 people? The Mercury? Terrapin? There's a good amount of them. Depends on what exactly function you want. Is Star Citizen worth playing right now if you don't own a GTX 1080 and 64 gigs RAM and an SSD? 3.3 is a billion times better. Oh, is that? That's actually doing displayed. Thank you, Alfred. That's cool. I was like, that's not in that video. I didn't put that picture there. It's in my chat. Thank you. Yeah, so you can 3.3 object container streaming makes the game significantly more scalable. People are running pretty well on like 970s. So yeah, the game is a billion times better. I'm not going to be streaming in the PTU. I'm going to go and make a video about 3.3.0R. So I'm going to do in a second. Fallout 76 launch party next week. Yes, I'm going to be playing Fallout 76, so we can potentially do something on stream or whatever. Get a group together, maybe. I've got a BoredGamer org, Clotaran, which you're more than welcome to join to search for BoredGamer. It will be more of a social org. I do also have one called Nomad Black, which is going to be a bit more roleplay. But I'll talk about that at some point. Do you have educated guesses on the insurance coming with ships during anniversary sale this year? Don't know. 5 years, 6 year, whatever. I do think the Orion will price bloat, yes. I'm hoping it will. I think the Carrack as well. The ship most likely to next bloat in price is the Carrack, and then probably the Orion. Maybe the 890 jump again, actually. Will they wipe servers when 3.3 goes live? Yes. Oh, the Vulcan. The Vulcan will offer non-combat. And the Apollo. Apollo will be medical. There's loads. Might have missed it with VoIP and VoIP. Do you think the spoken in a thought without clicking it? I think you'll probably better get a third-party program that allows you to do that. Potentially, I might add it, but I don't know. And it might be very easy to add the fact you could speak. Yes. No. How does the flight model feel? Not great in 3.3. Much better than previously from 3.0 though, because it has a higher frame rate. 3.4 new flight model. That's what I'm waiting for. The turrets are a million times better, though. Was that a person wearing a bag over his head? Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see. Any other questions? Any other questions I haven't answered? Any other questions people want to ask? We're going to 2.5 hours. I'm going to jump on with start sitting with Zen in a minute. If anyone's around in the Discord after I've grabbed a drink and a tiny bit of lunch, I will be filming for 3.3.0R or 0R. If it's stable enough to film for, it might not be. I might just have to do a patch notes reading. Do you think the Battlefield upgraded kits will survive Vanguard variant release? Or will the modular design be... So, I don't think they're going to sell Battlefield upgrade kits again in the future, but I do think the Battlefield upgrade kits will just be a collection of components now. So, they should survive. What ship would I recommend to protect, safeguard your fellow players? On a larger scale, the Hammerhead, amazing defensive ship. That will allow you to really, really safeguard and protect people. If you're talking about escorting, then Hornet, great escort fighter. Long range, then you've got the Bandit Defender, which will probably be able to fly around without having to dock or resupply for a long time. There's a lot. It depends on exactly what you're trying to defend. So you could play 3.3 at the moment. It's pretty stable. Okay, that's good. Heading home in a bit. See you. See you, Lance. Love your face. Do you think CIG will add a bookmark system to Star Citizen, unlike the one in EVE Online?
Dodging bullets.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Mr. Methane,
beautiful.
that's going to be the information gathering stuff. So you're going to be able to bookmark and save information about areas that you're in. But you'll be able to then package that information and sell it. In your experience, how well are turrets coming along? Much better than they have been previously. The gyro stabilization system that allows them to stay in the point where your ship turns is amazing. And they're a lot better than they have been previously. With the new flight model in 3.4 and then some tweaking, I can see them being great. But still need a bit of work. Do you think we will have a medical package soonish? A ship package orientated to medical gameplay? Got the Apollo. I mean, and we've previously had the Endeavour Hope Hospital stuff, and I can see when they have medical gameplay, they'll have some more information about those ships and talk about it more, and probably have all of those ships packaged together with like the Cutlass Red and stuff. 3.3 live build, I'm expecting as early as the end of next week, and as late as the middle of November. That's my expectation. Any idea what fits inside the Kraken? I'm assuming up to 2 ships of Cutlass size, but I'm not sure if it's small pads or medium pads inside the ship, so not entirely. I apologise. Yeah, so there's going to be various items to heal people. Medipens will obviously stabilize people for a little bit of time, is the idea, but there's going to be other tools. I'm not sure when I'm going to get those. Medical med kits and things. I suspect that it will take up a valuable slot having some form of med kit, so you won't want everyone to do it, and maybe you won't be able to have those med kits on heavier armors, so you'd only be able to have them on light armor. So actually, medic would be a role in a group. Hurston's not out yet. No, 3.3 doesn't have Hurston. 3.3.5 will have. Do you think everything in 3.4 will make it with 3.3 and 3.5 coming out Q4? Yes, I do. I can see that maybe they do a live PTU build for everyone like they did with 3.3. Potentially. But hopefully it will come out as a live build. Compliments. You have one of the best Q&A streams around. Cheers, Board. Thank you very much, Swordlord. The reason I do... So, I want to do at least 2 Star Citizen streams a week. At the moment, that will actually become more, especially if I do hires in or whatever. At least 2. One will be more focused around gameplay, and one will be more focused around just chatting to the community and answering questions like this one. So the one I typically do on Monday or Tuesday will be that. One on Thursday or Friday will be more gameplay, probably. I might mess that around a bit. We'll see. What's your personal assumption about the release date of 3.3.5? When do you think it's going to be released? I think the PTU we could get as early as middle of November for that. And I'm hoping we have it released by the end of November, but I have to wait and see. Got to fit in a lot very quickly, haven't they? First week of December, maybe. Currently torn between the Vulcan and the Crucible as a repair ship. Do you see any benefit in having both, or would you lean more towards one over the other? If it's pure repair, Crucible. If you want to do more than repair, Vulcan. It's rearm, repair, and refuel. Although, actually, probably the Crucible will be able to do that to a fighter-sized ship that can land in it. Up to you. Crucible is higher tier, in my opinion. Are you able to build ships in-game yet? They haven't said that's going to be a thing. That's probably going to be handled just on the sort of like NPC and simulation side. I would like manufacture in-game up to ship level. That would be great. But we'll see. At least supply ammunition, fuel, food. I'd like to see all that. Maybe not ships, but I would like ships, but maybe not. Do you think will be more ships for agriculture besides the Endeavour that needs less crew? Potentially. I suspect that agriculture will also take part on planets. They've talked about being able to change the topsoil of a planet for farming, outposts and stuff. So for farming, that might be more of a thing. The scale of the Endeavour allows for farming, so maybe not any other ships with it. Maybe ships that are or vehicles that are more focused on agriculture but not on farming. So maybe just getting seeds or finding things that are more sciencey sort of aspects of it. I think coffee machines will be working at some point in 3.3.5. They showed it off there. It's the same as drink dispensers and things. That's all the sort of stuff they can get working, because why the fuck not? Do you have a hammerhead? I want one. I don't have one. Do you think they will incentivize multi-crew in the future? Yes. So they're going to try to want to get players to multi-crew ships by having them have higher time to kill, and by being able to run around and repair and stuff, but also all that multi-crew stuff. Being in a turret needs to be more effective than being in a single-seater ship in a lot of situations. See what I mean? Otherwise, you might as well just bring a single-seater ship with you. See what I mean? Not always, but... Thank you very much for all the love. I'm going to go and host someone else, and then I'm going to get lunch, and I'm going to play some games with Zen, and anyone else that's in the Discord, potentially. Twitch. I'm going to see who else is streaming. Me. It's just me. Oh no, some people have appeared. Right. We will go and host some Crucian. Because Crucian is a nice chap. He's very I'm trying to do my VoIP faces. Hyped. Enthusiastic. That's the fucking word I was thinking of. So give him some love. What are your things on Blades and AI partners? Do you think CIG will do a sale on those sometime for limit per account? I don't know what you mean. So there's going to be... So point defense systems have been rebranded and changed to remote turrets that you can have controlled by AI computers called Blades. Those are effectively different from NPCs. They're going to be dumber. Programmable to an extent, but dumber. That was the idea. And my thoughts on them are, they sound cool. Basically point defense systems. But maybe you can tell them to shoot all incoming fighters of a certain size if they're hostile, whatever. Or try and shoot missiles, or try and shoot torpedoes down, or whatever. So I think that's a cool thing. If you're talking about extra NPCs on your accounts, I don't know. Would you like a system in play or for org combat that allowed them to capture stations and create items and even build and respawn ships faster? I'd like manufacture. And I'd probably like space station capture. I mean, running space stations is actually one of the stretch goals, so they probably will have it at some point. Medical gameplay, running a medical ship. Will it be in-game? If so, when? Yes, it will be. There's loads of things that are medical-based, from individual people grabbing and keeping alive and stabilizing, to using an Apollo or an Endeavour hospital to remove debuffs on people or reattach their limbs better and then respawn there and stuff. Don't know when it's going to be ending. Hello, Raz. I am actually going now. Any other questions before I jump in and give Little Crucian a host? This is the guy we're going to be hosting in a second. Give 10 seconds. Right. Love your faces, guys. Thank you very much. 3.3.0R. Apparently it's stable. Apparently it's unstable. Apparently it's got VoIP and VoIP. And apparently it hasn't. So I'm going to find out later. I'm going to play it after I've had lunch. I'm going to get a video out for it ASAP. But I love you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I miss you all the time, Raz. You're a sexy boy. Or woman. I don't know. You could be any gender you want. It's 2018 after all. I love you. That's all I'm just coming out and saying it. Right. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. And I'll see you in the best. Mwah. Bam. Toasty. Toasty.